Hello and welcome to the Times of India, and you are watching the Narrative Election Special. And phase three voting is almost done and dusted. The final votes are being polled right now. With this, a total of 283 of the 543 constituencies, which is almost half the parliamentary constituencies, will have voted after today. The fates of the number of candidates in 283 seats has now been locked and sealed inside those EVM machines. And of course, the results will be out on June 4th. Now, after phase three, the focus now shifts decisively to the heartland. In a lot of these seats, the BJP and the Congress are sort of locked in a very, very, very close fight and a battle for survival, literally, for the Congress and for the BJP, of course, a prestige battle, given the fact that they've already talked about 400 par. Right. Now, I'm introducing my guests. Shantanu Gupta is sitting with me here in the studio. Thank you, Shantanu, for joining us. Political analyst and author. Yashwant Deshmukh has joined us online. He's joining us from Dubai. He's the founder director of Sea Voter and, of course, one of the better pollsters that I've met in my time. Of course, Deepa Trivedi, a senior journalist, joining us from Ahmedabad. All the seats in Gujarat today sealed, locked, loaded. Deepa can share with us what's happening there, and we will, of course, talk to her about the key. Is it going to go down to the wire in some of those seats, which are supposedly supposed to be key? All of them locked for the BJP so far in 2014 and 2019 elections. Also joining us is H.S. Balram, senior journalist, former resident editor of the Times of India and of the Indian Express. He's joining us from Bangalore. Thanks everyone for joining here, and let me start with phase three. And since by virtue of the fact that my friend Shantanu is sitting here in the studio with me, Shantanu, it was a battle of prestige for both the Congress and the BJP. And now that the battle has been wrapped up in Karnataka, in Gujarat, in Assam, in Goa, in Chhattisgarh, in 2019, NDA won 79 of the 93 seats that have voted today. Yeah. Now, the India Alliance had won just about 11 seats, and those graphics you will see shortly on our LED screen. So these seats, clearly a critical phase three, wrapped up for both the UPA and the NDA.
I think, well, all the phases are crucial for every party, but this phase was particularly crucial for NDA because they were the front runner earlier. And whenever there is a Congress versus BJP direct fight, and we have seen in 2014-19, BJP has 95%. I think Yashwant can tell the exact number, strike rate, right? So in fact, BJP loves Congress as opposition, right? So in fact, BJP, wherever BJP has a struggle or problem or a real challenge is the regional chhatraps, is the TMCs of the world, right? Or maybe in South where they are regional chhatraps. So I think wherever Congress is their opposition, their strike rate is 90 plus. I think they will maintain that more or less.
Yashwant, you think the 90 plus strike rate is going to be maintained? Shantanu obviously seems to think so.
It depends, Aditi. I mean, Shantanu is correct about the 90% strike rate of the BJP. But there is an inherent issue with the BJP's, entire election management this time. That many places that they had to leave quite a significant number of seats with the alliance partners who are not really
striking at the same rate.
Yeah. So, say for the case in Bihar, we know for sure BJP is contesting the similar number of seats as last time. It has left out significant number of seats for the alliance partners, which are unlikely to have the similar kind of strike rate. Luckily for them, they are actually contesting bigger number of seats in Maharashtra, but still there is a significant number even then left out. So I don't know if at some point of time in retrospect the BJP at some point of time will think that they should have opted for the Jayalalitha model of Tamil Nadu, where if you remember when everybody was predicting in 14 and after that in the assembly election that she will be losing, she actually bullied all her alliance partners to contest on their symbol. So, because she said that my symbol carries more electoral power and you are important, you have electoral support on the ground, but you need the support or the convertibility factor more because of our symbol. So I think at some point of time, BJP might, once these elections are over, BJP might very well think like that it's possible that, if they would have contested more seats, or probably they would have asked their alliance partners to contest on the symbol of the BJP, if that may be the case. So we will know actually once the results are out, but definitely the 90% plus strike rate is a very distinct possibility for BJP in their heartland. That's what the tracker and all the pre-poll surveys have been showing. Only concern is that whether the same kind of conversion would be there for the alliance partners of the BJP.
But not just the alliance partners. Let's just talk about Karnataka. Karnataka and Maharashtra are the two swing states, in a very big way this time. What about Karnataka? Let's just talk about Karnataka, and let's bring up those graphics on air about Karnataka. It's a state where the Congress and the BJP are in a direct fight together. Many believe that this time they are not going to see the kind of sweep that they saw in Karnataka in 2019. 28 seats there. What is your reading of Karnataka? Because today the voting was on 14 seats of Karnataka. Now all these seats come in North Gujarat. Can I have my producer put up those graphics on screen so that one knows exactly what the vote share, what the seat share was in 2019 on these 14 seats in Karnataka. And Yashwant, again, as I said, the voting is in the north belt, the north, Karnataka north, which is really a BJP bastion. How do you read? Because in this election is happening at a time, these 14 seats have gone to polls, and the Prajwal Ravenna scandal, the sex tape scandal, is doing the rounds.
Differ from many other analysts on the trend of Karnataka as the baseline. Where are we comparing that from? You just compared that figure from 2019 Lok Sabha election, but because I do tracker and I realize that after the assembly elections in Karnataka and a year down the lane, before last year, BJP was in really bad situation in Karnataka. So the thing is that comparing it from 2019, any data which has been thrown pre-poll surveys of right now would look like a loss or big loss or BJP in trouble in that way. But comparing from the situation which was right after the assembly election, you will realize that actually BJP has probably on the way of doing a lot of damage control, courtesy their tie-up with the J. So Prajwal Ravanna, of course, that did not happen when the southern Karnataka or the Vokaliga belt was going to the poll in their first phase of Karnataka. Arguably, that part of Karnataka is done. Rest of the Karnataka, the Vokaliga votes are not really that kind of critical. But having said that, we should not forget that the 10% Vokaliga jump base of JDS, which the BJP tried to invite them into their camp right after their assembly election, disastrous performance in the assembly elections happened. I think that was a damage control. So whatever BJP gets in Karnataka now, say for example, for them to crash from a high of 25 seats to in about 8 or 9 seats, that would have been a huge disaster. But if at all they manage to, go beyond 20 in Karnataka, they would see it more like a damage control rather than.
Okay, Shantanu wants to come in here. A quick word, Shantanu, and then I want to go to. I want to go to HS Balram because he's in Bangalore. He can give us a sense of what's happening on the ground there.
I think one Yashwant said is very right. I think we should not look even not only Karnataka, Bihar and Maharashtra, not what BJP got last time, because 1 year back BJP was in big trouble in 3 states, right? Karnataka because of the loss, and Bihar and Maharashtra because of the loss of the major ally, right? And now they have more or less recovered in all these 3 states. The losses, they recovered the losses, what the different trackers or different opinion polls are saying. So that way we have looked at it. So I just want to add that, yeah.
All right. So, HS Balram sir, do you differ from what our, an analyst who's definitely he's written a couple of books on Mr. Yogi, so I'm assuming he knows the BJP inside and out. And of course, Yashwant, how do you see the reading on the ground? Because does the Prajwal Ravanna sex tape scandal, now both sides, BJP and Congress, have traded blames. We don't know which side the blow is going to land. Do you?
Very true. I don't differ with these two eminent persons here because they spoke the truth. But because I am on the ground here, very much in Karnataka, what's going on, the 14 seats that have gone to polls today are very crucial for BJP because last time BJP had won all the 14 seats,
Yeah.
not even one for the Congress. But unlike in other states, we don't have regional parties in Karnataka. JDS is somewhat of a regional party, but it is more of a troublemaker than they can join hands with the devil to have power. That is the power. They can join hands with Congress, they can join hands with the BJP. They don't bother about ideology. So the main fight here in Karnataka is between the Congress and the BJP. Both are quite strong, and BJP has done very well. Unlike any other southern state, BJP is very strong in Karnataka. But of late, let me be very clear about it. Especially after the last assembly election, that is 1 year before, not 12, 10 months before, Congress did a very good job, and BJP was thrown out. And it may be because of the local factors. The government was not working, governance was not good, and people wanted a change, and they brought in Congress with a majority. They didn't vote even for JDS. They brought Congress with a majority. So the main fight between these two, we have to see. It will reflect on the national scene. You see, if one, how Karnataka
Okay.
does in this
Got
election
it, got it.
reflects
So,
on the
but
national
I just
scene. I think it's
got it,
very
sir. Got it,
important.
sir. I just because taking a cue from what you're saying, I just want to also talk about Dharwad. Yashwant, and I want to come to you for Dharwad. You know, we're talking about all these seats, and again, Prahlad Joshi is contesting from there. But you know, facing a rebellion from the Lingayat community, which is a critical BJP vote bank, so to speak. How's it looking for Prahlad Joshi? Because again, one of those seats which BJP won last time, likely to face a stiff challenge or facing a stiff challenge from Congress's Vinod Asuti this time.
Well, again, Aditi, there are seats which are going to be, say, for example, if you will look into last year's perspective, which Shantanu just mentioned, uh, I think if you will ask me which are the seats, which even after the assembly elections disaster, BJP would have won. Say, if last year, if the assembly election and Lok Sabha election would have happened together, and suppose if somebody says that BJP's tally would have fell down to say 9 or 10 seats in
Right.
Karnataka, which are the seats? So Dharwad would be one of those seats which I would have said BJP would win, even when the BJP was crashing out in the assembly elections.
Huh.
These are such strongholds, and also Aditi, I understand that the rebels and these factors. I mean, some disenchantment, some local problem of the chemistry. These things do matter a lot, no doubt. I mean, we have seen, of course, the seat, the Barmer seat in Rajasthan going along that territory, but those things are more actually important when the assembly elections are happening or the micro elections, smaller elections are happening. At the parliamentary level, unless the rebel candidate or unless the dissenting voice is really huge, big guy, a person who has a capacity to win the parliamentary election as an independent of sorts. Unless that happens, I don't think that in the larger narrative of the Lok Sabha election, where actually the Karnataka or for that matter even the entire India is either polling for Mr. Modi or against Mr. Modi. In that kind of division of narrative, I really don't feel that much of the local dissent or local issues are going to play too significant a role,
Too
say, for
significant.
example, even in a seat like that.
Yeah, let me just, for instance, Dharwad is one seat. Haveri is another seat where Basavaraj Bommai is he's been an unpopular CM. He had to leave the seat midway. How because it's definitely not. But you're saying it's looking like 20 se zyada mil jayenge is what you're saying,
No,
and
I
therefore it's
cannot
got a
give.
big
Aditi,
loss of
I'm sorry.
face.
No. I'm just giving you the hypothetical
Yeah,
scenario
yeah,
which the
correct. We all
poll surveys
understand.
was
These are
saying.
hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reason being that I am because I am privy to the exit poll data, so I will not be doing any number
Sure,
speculation
sure, sure.
whatsoever.
Absolutely. Yes,
You
yes,
know.
yes.
Uh,
Before the EC
but
comes
having
down with
said
news.
that, Aditi, like for example, case of Asabra Bhumai, I understand that our trackers at the assembly election did say that he has been an unpopular chief minister and BJP is likely to lose the assembly election big time. But let's also face the one fact. An unpopular chief minister at that point of time is still a big hero in his home district.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
please remember that he is not right now a factor in the statewide voting of Karnataka. The only factor statewide voting of Karnataka is Prime Minister Modi. Mr. Basavaraj Bommai is a singular factor in his own home ground, in his own home territory, where regardless of the assembly election result, he is still considered a local hero because of a son of a local soil, who became the chief minister. And these
Yeah,
things
yeah. I
matter.
only brought it up. Yeah, Yashwant, I only brought it up because of the fact that the local Lingayat leaders have come out against him. The Singh Seer has come out against him and said all kinds of things.
That's
He
important. Yeah, that's
exactly
important. That's
because that
important because when certain major communities look at certain leader in the long or short run as a candidate who is against the community, or if the community leaders feel that okay, if you want to safeguard your own community leadership, then these leaders should be defeated. That kind of structural campaign might have a different kind of result. But I think BJP, after the JDS alliance, actually was not really bothered about Vocaliga, so they did well by bringing in the son of Mr. Yediyurappa to head the. So they tried to placate the Lingayats, and largely speaking, I would say that Lingayats do remain to be a very strong voting bloc of the BJP in Karnataka. At this point of time, I don't see any indicator, qualitative or quantitative whatsoever, during the run up to this election that there is a huge dissent among the Lingayats, or a good chunk
got it.
of them are falling
Got it.
away.
I
That's
quickly want to move on to Gujarat because Karnataka is a very exciting battle. So I just spent a lot of time there. But I think I'm just going to take your word, Mr. Balram, because you wanted to come in at one point. You raised your finger. So quickly, your word, and then we can move on to Gujarat.
Yeah, so there are five constituencies which everybody is watching. Very key constituencies. One, of course, Prahlad Joshi's
Right.
candidacy. He is being seen as some kind of a. Even Lingayats are against him. Against him. So there is a crucial what do you call seat which everybody is watching. Second seat is Shimoga, where Yediyurappa's
Shimoga,
son is
right.
contesting. There, one is Bangarappa's daughter is contesting against Ravindra, who is Bangarappa was in Congress, then he moved, started his vote party, then again went to BJP, but they are strong. And she's this lady, she's also the wife of, yes, top star in Karnataka, Shivraj Kumar. So she is also a big star. Then third candidate there is Ishwarappa, who is creating problems for the BJP. He is a rebel candidate. Just because his son was not given a seat, he is fighting the BJP. Though
True.
he has not joined the Congress, but he is fighting. So we have to see whether Yediyurappa's son will manage to tackle these two candidates. They are two strong candidates. Third is
Absolutely.
there is, apart from Bommai, which I think I spoke about. Bommai is a former CM who is contesting the election. There is one more CM who is contesting in Haveri.
Yes.
Haveri is that Shekhar. Sorry, the Belgaum, I think.
Have,
Shekhar is. Yeah, Bayaram,
Agadi,
Bayaram. You know, he was
Basavaraj
this person
Bomai.
was not given a seat last time in assembly election. Uh, that is Bombay. Bombay is different, but this one I'm talking about. Shettar, Jagdish Shettar. He was former chief minister. Now he joined the Congress. He contested the assembly election, but was defeated badly.
Okay.
Then now he has gone back to BJP. Now he is contesting Lok Sabha election. We have to wait and see whether
We
people
have
will
to wait.
accept
For
him
that, we'll
for
have to
going
wait
here
for
and
June
there and
4th.
coming back.
Right. Let me
We have to wait and wait.
at
One
this
more,
point bring
one
in
more.
Rahul Verma, sir. I'll come back to you, sir. Let me bring in Rahul Verma from the Center for Policy Research, who's
Okay.
joined us a little late right now for the conversation, but thank you for joining us, Rahul. Rahul, I want to move focus to Gujarat. Last time, even in 2014, BJP had won all the seats in Gujarat. Are they invincible this time? What's it looking like? There are reports, of course, of local discontent. Nearly 50% of the MPs, BJP also knew that. They changed nearly 50% of their MPs there. Do you see any what are you reading on the ground from there?
So, couple of things, Aditi. First, this formula of changing incumbent MPs has been very old for the BJP. This has been happening when Prime Minister Modi was CM of Gujarat. It used to happen even then. Almost 1/3 to 1/4 sitting MLAs used to be sort of like renominated because what it does is, one, in BJP's own version, is to fight local anti-incumbency, but also shift the focus of the campaign on the leadership rather than to keep on candidates. Two, I would sort of like take Yashwant Bhai's point, and this is very important. In Lok Sabha elections, because the constituency sizes are very, very large and you are mobilizing around 25 to 30 lakh voters, ultimately these small local factors don't matter. Mobilization happen through parties and leaders. And so while you will keep hearing of dissent in every nook and corner and against this candidate and other candidate, this is the reason why you don't see independents winning in Lok Sabha elections. You will hardly notice 3 or 4 independents very strong out of
But you know,
540.
in 2014 and 2019, there was this Modi wave. Everyone talked about. Is
I
there a
don't know
Modi
if
wave this
people
time?
talked in the run up to election.
Yeah.
See, the problem with a word like wave is that there is no definition to the word, right? So, post election, everyone could say what the wave was and define that they saw it. So, wave does not have an definition, first to begin with. Gujarat, in that sense, if you just want to talk about Gujarat,
Yes.
is a sort of like uh, core of BJP's politics of last 2 to 3 decades. In that sense, BJP is a dominant party in Gujarat. They have been in power there for now almost 3 decades, barring couple of years since 1990s, and they have been winning Vidhan Sabha elections, at least the last two. 2017 was tough, but 2022 is very, very big.
Correct.
And then 2014, 2019, they swept the state.
Yeah.
So, given that kind of sort of like dominance that BJP has in Gujarat, I don't see any major changes happening there, especially that they have won Surat without any contest.
Right.
Prime Minister comes from that state, Home Minister comes from that state. So, in that way, Gujarat is the nerve center of current BJP politics.
Big, celebrity sort of seats there. There is Amit Shah, there is Mansukh Mandviya, Amit Shah from Gandhinagar, Mansukh Mandviya from Porbandar. Yeah. The reason, and there's also C.R. Patil from Navsari. Now, again, there is, of course, there's no contest as far as people like Amit Shah and Mansukh Mandviya are concerned. It seems obviously they'll sweep. It seems like it so far. But what about Navsari? Navsari is a very contested seat, and there is.
I think Navsari again. I think C.R. Patil will win with the highest margin. Last time, 2019, he won with close to 7 lakh,
7 lakhs,
which was
right.
second largest margin in the history of Indian elections, right? And putting him a brilliant election brain. And whenever you talk to him, I access him a couple of times. He says, "मैं कभी कोई बड़ी rally नहीं करता हूँ." And he never does a big rally.
Yeah,
he never does a big rally, and he wins with the 7 lakh. And he's now the state president. And in fact, as Rahul mentioned, after 2017, BJP did stumble a little bit. After that, did a lot of course correction, and a lot of those faces, like which were the Congress faces, now are in BJP, or they are irrelevant, right? And C.R. Patil, who is winning election. In his Gujarati interviews, he's saying, for me, it's only the seat margin. I'll make sure every seat will win by 3 to 5 lakh margins, right? So he's talking that grammar.
He's talking that grammar. Let me bring in Deepal at this point. Deepal joining us from Ahmedabad. Deepal, you've been hearing what Rahul said, what Shantanu said. You're in Ahmedabad. What are you reading on the ground there? I can't get you. I don't hear you, Deepal.
Hi,
Yeah, I
Aditi.
can
Can you
hear you
hear
now.
me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I completely agree with what Rahul and Shantanu observed, that BJP is absolutely comfortable in Gujarat. Gujarat is BJP's model state, and in 2014 and 2019,
Okay, there. I think she's stuck, but
Lok
I just
Sabha
want to.
seats,
Okay.
right? But this time, I think the only thing that is going to be different is that as of now, it seems that the voting percentage, the polling percentage in Gujarat is likely to be at least 10% lower than, say, 2019. But this does not place BJP in any uncomfortable position. The Congress, yes, is giving sort of a tough fight in certain seats, but it's just a fight that it is giving. It's a situation little similar to 2017 when Congress did give up a spirited fight. It is not as intense as that, but in certain Lok Sabha seats, the Congress is definitely posing a keen fight. And the
Which which
BJP's
which
earlier.
particular seats are you talking about in particular? If there's any fight, for instance, one of the seats where I hear there could be a fight is Rajkot, where I think you have Purushottam Rupala from the BJP versus Paresh Dhanani, who many years ago it was Dhanani who had defeated Mr. Rupala. It's a very interesting story. But having said that, it seems that from whatever I'm hearing, Mr. Purushottam Rupala is clearly. I mean, there's no threat per se.
Definitely, Aditi. Rajkot is the epicenter of the ongoing Kshatriya agitation in Gujarat, where Union Minister Parshottam Rupala made some comments against Rajputs about them breaking bread with the British and marrying off their daughters for self interest. And this sparked off a Kshatriya agitation. But I've been to Rajkot, and I don't actually see a fight there. I see, despite the agitation, despite it being a controversial seat, Parshottam Rupala, as of now, seems to be comfortably placed in Rajkot, mainly because of two reasons. At least since last 3 decades, Rajkot has always voted for BJP, minus a Koli leader, Kuvarji Bavalya, in the late 80s. It has always been the BJP. Second, it is always a Patidar leader. So both Rupala and Paresh Dhanani, the Congress candidate, are partidars, but Rajkot has been a traditional BJP seat even when Narendra Modi took over as the Chief Minister of Gujarat.
Right.
Rajkot was the place he contested his first election from. So I don't see a fight in Rajkot. The seats where I see Congress posing a fight to the BJP are Anand, where the Congress candidate is Amit Chavda, then Valsad, where there is a tribal Congress leader Anant Patel, and I see some fight from Banaskantha, where there is a feisty Thakur woman, Geniben, who is posing a challenge to the BJP contestant Dr. Rekha Chaudhary. And Geniben has crowd-funded her elections, and she's giving a good fight.
Some
But it is
interesting,
again,
yeah.
as I say, just a fight.
Let me bring in Yashwant. Yashwant, so Deepal giving us that perspective from the ground. Gujarat voting percentage till 3 p.m. is 47%. Maybe till 6 p.m. It will obviously reach a respectable number compared to, let's say, Maharashtra, which we'll go to next. Do you agree that there are some seats where the Congress might be, able to topple the BJP this time around?
With a low turnout, thinking that this low turnout is going to help the Congress. Uh, I mean, going from the anecdotal evidence and the electoral history, Aditi, the low turnout plenty of the times particularly in the states or areas where any party has a definite advantage of being a cadre-based organization. Then the party with the cadre support or the very good infrastructure in that way to actually gains from the low turnout. And particularly in the case of Gujarat, people would confirm me if I correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I remember, plenty of the times whenever the turnout has dropped in Gujarat, actually it has benefited the BJP, not the Congress, because they have a cadre, which there is a minimum number of people that will come out. The question is whether Congress has the capacity to increase their own turnout, and BJP turnout goes down, and so in the relative turnout of sort, Congress gains. Now
Rahul, yeah,
that to happen, Aditi, we have to see very, very clear evidence of a Congress revival, a huge revival of Congress in Gujarat. So far, we have not seen any evidence of that.
Congress revival in Gujarat, but Rahul wanted to come in. Rahul, there are talks that there are 7 parliamentary seats, including what she said, Anand, Patan, Junagadh, a few of these seats where the contest is fierce. They may not slip out of BJP's grasp, but the vote margin might sort of shrink.
See, that is always possible. One, we have to remember that in Gujarat, the BJP's vote share was around 62 percentage point and Congress was 32, right? That's a 30 percent point gap. And to be able to, so there are going to be seats which BJP must have won above 30 point and some below 30 point. And so some of these seats which are being listed, yes, the victory margin have been narrower, but even with like a 20-25% margin, what we are talking about a state where victory margins were bigger than the national victory margin. True. National victory margin was around 15 or 18%. So it needs, as Yashwant was suggesting about big revival, you need a very heavy swing against BJP and in favor of Congress for that to happen. Second, we don't know whether Aam Aadmi Party, which is contesting in some seats, of course, they will be marginal to this contest, but they might be picking up some of the votes that Congress would have been hoping for. So it makes the job tougher. Third point, and just to add to, since Deepal mentioned about Valsad seat, Valsad in sort of like for election analysis, a well-weathered seat. Since 1957, whoever has won Valsad has also ruled Delhi. Okay. And so that becoming sort of like a contested seat is interesting to think about. But ultimately, which way it swings will, I'm not saying there is a causation that Valsad basically determines what happens in Delhi, but it's an interesting seat to look from 57 to 2019. We call them in UP Totka seats.
Aditi, on Valsad, I'm glad that he mentioned it. The kind of confidence that the BJP as an organization has, they literally pulled out a complete novice candidate in Valsad, a completely new, fresh, young candidate, which many of the people were really surprised. Dhaval Patel, they just pulled him out, and the kind of with the of course clean slate, and the kind of confidence that they have that okay, we can go ahead, give a candidate, who might not be a big-time political character in the constituency, yet he has a clean slate, and if the organization pulls through, then he will march on. So it shows the confidence, when you have, the confidence of giving a complete fresh candidate, Of course, there is a strategy of countering the local anti-incumbency by giving a fresh face. I understand that, but still, you need to have that kind of organizational capacity and confidence in that organizational capacity. That way, out of the 7 assembly segments of Valsad, if I'm not wrong, again I will go back to our expert on Gujarat. She might correct me if I'm not wrong. I have seen the trend of barring one assembly segment in Valsad. Rest of the assembly segments, Aditi, the margins have been, three out of them have been polling in the last few elections more than 70% for the BJP.
हाँ जी,
You know,
correct.
and
हाँ.
there is only one segment, if I am not wrong, where Congress has been consistently kind of getting a better drive than the BJP. If I'm not wrong, it's probably Vansada. That's probably one segment where Congress has been pulling it. Otherwise, four of the seven almost touching 70 or 70 plus margin for the BJP. That's organizational strength for you.
But let's just move to, I know, see, no point discussing Gujarat to a very large extent, because as Deepal, you, Shantanu, Rahul, everyone seems to be in agreement that there is no way that anything is slipping out of BJP's grasp as far as Gujarat is concerned. And let's move to Maharashtra, where things might be slipping out of hands. It's being called a swing state this time. I don't want to dwell a lot on it, but I just the voting percentages, if you look at, in Bengal, the voting percentage is at, I think till 3 o'clock it was almost 63%, and till 3 o'clock in Maharashtra it was 47%. Now, that itself shows you that there for me, that's just confusion by among the voters, maybe, or is it just like it's always been for Maharashtra? Yashwant.
Aditi, I always maintain with you that the two states which are actually the battleground states this time. Of course, one is West Bengal, and another one is Maharashtra. But look at the turnout you just mentioned, and the turnouts are pretty evidently showing a very keen contest in West Bengal, seat by seat. Really tough fight over there,
But
and there is a real tough
Yashwant, I
fight
just want to bring
in
in one
Maharashtra
point
as
here.
well.
Sorry, please can finish your point. I want to bring in one point. Since I'm speaking now, let me bring it out. The thing is, last time around, Mamata Banerjee did not give it that much of importance, the maybe the Lok Sabha content, but suddenly seeing the rise of the BJP in the seats, I think now she's going hammer and tongs. And while the BJP leadership is campaigning in Bengal, right? They are going there. They are sort of campaigning, but and the elections are also very phased out in Bengal.
All the 7 phases.
हाँ, सातों phase में, किसी में 4 seat, किसी में 7 seat, किसी में Shantanu, isn't this a problem? And I'll come to everyone for you. Who is this a problem for? Because Mamata Banerjee तो बंगाल में है. वो वहाँ पे constantly campaign कर रही है, वो वहाँ constantly voters के पास जा रही हैं.
But we have also we should also realize in last 5 years, BJP, which is famous for its electoral machinery, they have also tightened their electoral machinery. They have put a very unassuming state president, right, who's a MP, and Suvendu Adhikari is doing all the boisterous stuff and all the nut and bolts. Now, if you see the social media of BJP Bengal, they have multiple posts of Karyakartas from when there was no election. So they have also tightened their election machinery, and when the election is slow, it's advantage BJP.
But so has the other side. Now they have a very prominent Delhi journalist who's their member of their rank and file.
I know how much she's helping the cause.
No, because they are also very strong on social media, and they've also picked up their rank and file.
So 2 points. One, I think on the turnout. See, West Bengal always had a higher turnout than Maharashtra. Like eastern states and southern states in this country turn out around 75 to 80% on average. North and west turns out around 50, 55, 60. So that has been, so Bengal turnout is going to be higher and Maharashtra turnout is going to be lower. But I think Yashwant was making an important point. Turnout is also driven by level of political competition. And given Bengal is going to be highly competitive, you will see more participation from both sides in the electoral process. Whereas in Maharashtra, what we are seeing, and like voters there might be able to confirm this much more, a kind of confusion also, because political parties have
हाँ
been
मतलब दो
broken.
दो NCP.
Yes.
You know, I remember there was this very old Bollywood movie, Yashwant. It had Sunil Shetty and he came, मेरे दो दो बाप. And now suddenly there are these two NCPs, two Shiv Senas. People are confused. And that's the sense I got from some of my friends who are voters in Bombay. And they're like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know. You know. And वो symbol किस पे click करना है, which is the real Shiv Sena, which is the
drop of turnout in Maharashtra is nothing but people's way of telling that all of you have got everything wrong. Not a single party's supporter, he or she who voted for any particular party in the last assembly or the last Lok Sabha election has not been dished or has not been cheated by the post poll, the way the politics has worked out. Every single party. So I will not be surprised that this drop in turnout is coming from disheartened voters across all the political parties' lines. How else will you think of it, Aditi? Think of the inherent contradictions. How can you think a die-hard Shiv Sena voter to think that they have to vote for a Congress candidate to defeat the BJP? I'm talking about supporter of Uddhav Thackeray. I'm taking it. How can you think of a die-hard BJP supporter to vote for Ajit Pawar candidate? These are such contradictions, and this was bound to happen. I would have been very, very surprised if Maharashtra would have come up with a really healthy turnout figures.
Okay, yep. Let me bring in Mr. Balram at this point. Mr. Balram, your sense, because for both, I mean, Bengal as well as Maharashtra, two very critical states for both the NDA as well as the UPA because of the alliance mechanisms at play in these states. And both states are swing states. Now, BJP needs to be winning big in both these states to be able to cross the 300 mark. And the India alliance also needs to win big here if it has any hopes of beating the Modi, Amit Shah juggernaut. Your views on that? How do you see this?
Well, see, we talk about Bengal and we have talked about Maharashtra, but we should keep in mind Karnataka is as crucial as Bengal or Maharashtra, because both Congress and BJP is a trial of strengths. BJP must win lots of seats to help the National Party at the center, that is BJP at the center, and Congress wants more seats from Karnataka to make a mark at the center. So it is. I always feel that Karnataka is as important as Bengal or this one, Maharashtra. Yes, we know that in Karnataka also the voting percentage was not as high, but I think that is the usual pattern. I think all these years what we have seen, people are little apathy, especially in states, cities like Bangalore and all. People are little apathetic, but North Karnataka is little different from South Karnataka, because there people go out and vote in spite of lot of heat there. Heat, not the political heat, but even the climate I'm talking about. It's very hot, very hot. Even in places like Bangalore, it was very hot this time. Lots of people voted only in the morning. I think till about 9 o'clock. People didn't venture out till about 4 in the evening or 5 in the evening. So another thing which I want to make it a point here, as far as BJP is concerned, lots of people say Modi is the de facto candidate in almost all the seats, BJP candidate. So it is a test of strength for Modi, more than BJP Modi, whether he can keep all those 28 seats in Karnataka or even 50 seats in Karnataka. For Congress, yes, it is a very valid point, because for instance, take Gulbarga, where Kharge's son-in-law is contesting. What is the message going around that constituency? That if India alliance comes to power next, Kharge may be the PM candidate. So that has sent some kind of a thing. "Arey, अपना आदमी का हो रहा है अगर man is becoming the prime minister, there is a possibility if Devegowda became prime minister at that time,
Kharge as
and
prime
maybe
minister
Kharge
now. Yeah,
yes,
that's
and
interesting,
party is
sir.
going
That's
around.
interesting, sir, because so in that sense, when you're saying that in all the seats where BJP is contesting, people are thinking, okay, forget the local candidate, it's Modi that we are voting for. In all the seats where the India Alliance is contesting, or forget the India Alliance, let's just the Congress is contesting, that similar feeling. Rahul has not been, Rahul, your namesake, has not been able to evoke that similar, despite the yatra, despite a lot of talk, and despite being, I mean, Congress has upped its social media antenna like tremendously over the last 1 year.
So, first, BJP would hope that voters don't look at local candidates, but they think of Prime Minister Modi.
True.
Because if elections become more local, less national, BJP wouldn't have the kind of advantages it had in 2014, 2019, right? So they would want, and it is true, like Prime Minister Modi seems to be one of the largest vote aggregator of modern Indian politics, and so he can galvanize more votes compared to any other leadership of any other party. Yes, Rahul Gandhi has not, like, his popularity ratings improved, but they're improved against sort of like a downward falling popularity rating. So Bharat Jodo Yatra did give a fillip or bump to his ratings, but since 2019 they were going down. And in that sense, Congress would also hope that rather than looking at the face of Prime Minister Modi, elections become much more localized, state level factors and constituency level factors start playing role, where BJP, where the opposition could put a sort of like some stop to BJP's 300 plus sort of like target.
Okay, Yashwant, this entire caste census conversation that that has suddenly become the buzz between phase 2 and phase 3. Suddenly, caste census is the biggest thing that's doing the round. Merit is doing the rounds. So there are lots of videos of Mr. Rahul Gandhi going viral, talking about the caste census, talking about equal opportunity, talking about 50% आपकी जनता है तो 50% आपका हिस्सा होना चाहिए. Is that BJP, Congress has always accused the BJP of polarization on the basis of religion. Is this not polarization on the basis of caste? And I've really asked myself this question a couple of times. We're going back to the Mandal era.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, in a way that that's the only answer to the umbrella Hindutva policy of the BJP. Come to think of it from their perspective, they feel that if the BJP's goal of uniting the Hindu votes under one umbrella of Hindutva is going to be successful, then probably in a country like India where almost 80% Hindu votes are there, what are the chances of others to compete and win? So obviously their chances open up if they try to micromanage the caste-based vote banks, which will disintegrate the Hindu vote bank into multiple pieces, and that's where the Mandal and Kamandal core issues come in. But the funny thing is, Aditi, that as 14 and 19 election results have shown us, it is the non-Yadav consolidation of the OBC voters in states like Bihar and UP, and similarly in a non-Jatav consolidation of Dalit voters. These are the factors, particularly if you go into, say, for example, BJP's politics in Haryana has been on the non-Jat voters, So everywhere they have been doing that kind of a politics where they can take the umbrella of Hindutva, yet going state by state, whichever the dominant caste of that state is, they were trying to weave a politics which could, at the caste level also, could put up a counter to the dominant caste politics. Say for example, non-Yadav politics in UP and Bihar, non-Jat politics in Haryana, so on and so forth. And they have done that in a very creative manner, in a way that it is so funny and so classical to observe that BJP is anti-Jat in Haryana but pro-Jat in Western UP. So, and they are adjoining. But look at the way they have countered it in different ways. and they have taken into RLD, Jayan Chaudhary is in. So whichever way they could weave in, they went for a new alliance partners. But most importantly, Aditi, I think what BJP has most creatively done is propping up new faces and new leaders of different caste spectrums. It's not just the smaller alliances. Yes, of course, they are dominant in UP, but they did not forget to bring in Om Prakash Rajbharan, that way inside. They certainly propped up the Apnadal Sonilal faction, and they have kind of continued gaining votes out of that. So the idea of, first of all, alliance with the smaller parties, even if you are a dominant force, yet go for it. Number two, cultivate the local leadership from their own rank and file into different caste spectrums, yet maintaining the umbrella politics of Hindutva. So, in a very nutshell, कमंडल के अंदर मंडल आ गया, लेकिन मंडल वाला कमंडल नहीं हो पाया. That's what has happened. The Kamandal politics has taken in the mandal in a very creative
way. So Shantanu, you want to come in on this, on this whole, this entire talk about the caste census. The BJP has also said yes to the caste census in the past. Is that how? I mean, what the Congress's rhetoric and Rahul Gandhi's rhetoric right now about the caste census, about redistribution of wealth, has been not taken very, very kindly, of course, by the BJP, who's spewing over it. But a lot of people have also come out and said that that is perhaps what India needs right now.
I think, to my understanding, in the pre-24/7 media, politics were rather easier for Congress, and this was their basic grammar, that appease the Muslims, divide Hindus into castes, pick one or two castes, and in first past the poll system earlier, 25, 29, 30%, you make government. And when Narendra Modi came in 2014, he disturbed this grammar. He consolidated voter on two counts. One is the beneficiary voter who is voting because he got a house or a toilet or multiple schemes very, very efficiently, right? So then they started voting. So if you increase the governance, the entity politics on caste decrease drastically. Then for a lot of voters who are middle class and upper middle class, right, who are not dire need of government policies, for them they consolidated based on Hindutva.
Then what is, if it's about that, then what is the need to bring up and the Congress has accused the BJP of polarization.
That's why
love jihad in Karnataka.
You're right. So as in 1984, VHP started the Ram Mandir movement, and then came the Mandal. A lot of people say no, Kamandal came after Mandal, but it's evident that Mandal came after Kamandal, because movement was happening in 1984. Only the fruition of the movement only happened in 1991-92. So now, as Ram Mandir happened, and they all knew that Ram Mandir will happen in January, right? So I think they already planned caste census, and their leader for caste census, so to say, Nitish Kumar, he already left the party, right? So I think that's the only plank Congress was left with, that let's say try to create some fissure in the society, the some section apart from the Muslims can vote us based on this redistribution, like archaic, which even China's and the hardcore Marxist countries are not following redistribution now. So follow this old redistribution idea and the caste census idea, but it's not flying.
It's not flying. Rahul, let me bring you in at this point. As I started and you were not here at that point, the 79 seats or 72 seats out of the 94 that are going for, or that have voted today, done and dusted, were part of the NDA. With the majority with the BJP. 11 were for the Congress party, or the opposite camp. Now, after this phase of voting, and this, as I said, now we cross into the Hindi heartland, so to speak. After this is like the South is almost done, and now we move into the heartland, where it's a direct contest between the BJP and the Congress. Do you see this politics of polarization, caste, from here on, that rhetoric, do you see going up?
See, first of all, there are still Telangana and Andhra which are going to poll in the fourth phase. So
yeah,
42 seats,
of course.
right? So and UP and Rajasthan and everything was polling from the first phase.
Right.
So yes, the weight of the burden from South is going to shift towards the north of Vindhyas, but north was already voting. Second point, see, social fault lines of any society is always going to get reflected in politics. This is true for us, this is true for United States, this is true for Britain. Race has been defining US politics for 200 years. And so caste and religion will continue to define our politics no matter what. I think the cleverness or genius or smartness of a politician is to use those social fault lines and weave into a narrative which makes you think, oh, this is a new idea. Otherwise, those social fault lines are always going to get used. Be it Kamandal, Mandal, Hindutva, caste census. This is how, politics has operated, will continue to operate, even when you are going to use the language of development, Vikas, and other things. You are going to talk about, oh, you didn't get Vikas, others got Vikas. And so that sort of like mix is always going to be there. I think where Congress, perhaps as a party, should have thought about a little harder about the caste census. I'm not saying this is a wrong issue to raise, but Congress historically does not have a reputation on OBC politics, right? Kaka Kalelkar Commission in 1955, Congress was in power, didn't do anything. BP Mandal Commission recommendation in 1979, Congress was in power in 1980s, didn't do anything. So across North India, other backward classes do not see Congress as a party which is going to champion the interest of OBCs. Second, by just making rhetorics that we are now going to talk about social empowerment of these groups, people are not going to buy this unless there is more concrete steps that you are going to take. So to give you an example, BJP perhaps is able to better at mobilizing these castes because it can show the face of Prime Minister Modi and say that it's an OBC politician.
There you have an OBC
right?
PM.
So in Madhya Pradesh, for example, in 2023, BJP has given more tickets to OBC than the Congress. Yeah. And the reason BJP is able to do this, because BJP does not have to nominate Muslim candidates, right? So it basically allows extra 15% or 10% seats that Congress or other parties have to give to Muslims. BJP basically does it among Hindu castes. So there is a smart way of sort of like doing this politics, which BJP has been able to take advantage
Though on
of.
that, just a small point, the number of tickets that Congress has given to Muslims this time is drastically less. In whole of Maharashtra, I think they have not given a single Muslim ticket, and nobody's asking them questions though.
Okay, that's interesting. Deepal, I think you've been a quiet participant in the conversation for a long time. What's your sense? In the run-up to the polls, Modi identified 4 castes: women, youth, farmers, and poor. Right? But now, after 2 phases of voting, we see Prime Minister Modi assuring that the BJP will safeguard reservations for OBC, SC, ST. Of course, it's in retaliation to Mr. Rahul Gandhi's caste census clarion call. But clearly, BJP is not ignoring or not taking any chances, not ignoring Mandal, so to speak, along with Kamandal.
Yes, like as I've been hearing everyone speak on this issue, I agree. And BJP always, takes elections very seriously, even if it's a small ward election. I have been a witness to this since a couple of decades. Even if it's a single ward election, wherever it is, that this is the reason of the primary reason of BJP's success, because it takes its booth management, it takes elections very seriously, scientifically, and for everything there's a strategy. So this reservations to OBC, even consolidating minority votes, because almost all panelists would agree with me that C.R. Patil, the Gujarat BJP president, who won with the highest victory margin of over 7 lakhs in 2019, it was not possible for him to get this high a victory margin without support from Muslims, without support from Dalits, tribals, OBCs. So, unlike the general offhand remarks that BJP is just a party of the Savarnas, I think a lot of things have changed. And BJP has become more accommodative, and this experiment was initiated from Gujarat. The reason why BJP has been consecutively winning various elections, from panchayat to parliament, this is one of the primary reasons.
All right, that's interesting. Yashwant, would you concur your last thoughts on this? This entire caste census conversation. Do you think it is making any impact on the seats that went to vote in phase 3A? B, do you think the BJP is not just sticking to the Kamandal but also bringing in the Mandal when required by Prime Minister Modi, going out of his way, assuring people that the BJP will safeguard reservations for OBC, SC, ST, especially in states like Karnataka, where it's become a big issue?
There's a fundamental issue out there in the narrative building, Aditi, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi happens to be an OBC. When you talk about that, he is the tallest OBC leader in the country today. I mean, when you look at Prime Minister from his caste side of you, then all of a sudden you realize that Rahul Gandhi, claiming to be have a Brahminical, Kashmiri Brahminical upper caste lineage, targeting Narendra Modi OBC leader on the Kamandal lines. Unlikely to happen in that way, because if it is a question of symbolism, Aditi, we know for sure the symbolically Mayawati ji becoming the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, or symbolically speaking, Lalu ji or Mulayam Singh ji becoming chief ministers of their own state. These were the landmark things to happen. I guess Narendra Modi becoming the prime minister of this country for the OBC politics, it was also. We see it because BJP talked about the Mandal and umbrella Hindutva. So we see Modi as a Hindutva mascot. But we forget that when we talk about Modi as a Hindutva aspect, there is a part of this narrative as Modi as a OBC leader as well. So this entire campaign on the caste lines, the caste census, and basically the narrative of defeating Kamandal with the Mandal thing, it's not happening simply because Narendra Modi happens to be a tallest OBC leader in the country today. It's as plain as simple. Forget about Hindutva. He is in a position to score over this Mandal politics just by virtue of being an OBC.
Interesting. And as the battle now shifts to the heartland, as I was saying, and it's just going to get more exciting from here. I don't know why I have the feeling that the campaigning is going to get even more fiercer, because now a lot of the seats that are going to go to polls from here on are a direct Congress versus BJP fight. Of course, the regional satraps in the south, and of course Telangana, as Rahul sort of pointed out. Telangana still to vote. Andhra, not Andhra. Andhra to ho gaya sara na. नहीं आधा बचा है. Okay, Andhra बाकी.
State elections also.
State elections पूरा हो गया.
Jagannath Babu is coming.
Got it. Okay, so yes, so that, and of course nobody is really talking about. This is one nation, one vote that everyone is contemplating. It's going to be making things very difficult, because, as I said, the parliamentary elections are going on, but nobody is really talking about the state elections that are happening simultaneously, and which are also equally important and very, battle for survival for many people. Again, as I said, battle for survival for many and battle for prestige for the others. But thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Yashwant. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Shantanu. And we'll come back to you with more. Stay tuned to the Times of India. We'll come back to you next on the next voting day, on the next big announcement. And phase 4 polling is the day we see you next. Thank you. So much.